So good evening, everyone. Welcome to MyLogic's orientation session on CPA. Glad to see you all in one platform, and we have been interacting at some point of time. So this is our technically the first session, we could say. The idea of this session is to give you an overview about CPA program as a whole and the journey forward. Okay, so we say that become a CPA by 2021. That's the motto behind this, and we are starting the journey today. And today's session, we will give you an overview, complete overview about how to move ahead. First is from an overall overview about CPA. Most of you may be knowing it, but still, for the interest of everyone, we'll give an overview about what is CPA as a whole. Then we will move ahead with what is the approach, academic approach we are planning to take up. So that is the other thing we will be taking up. So as a whole, by end of today's session, you will get a fair idea about how to approach for CPA and how to crack CPA by 2021. And let me introduce myself. My name is Vinod. I'm a chartered accountant by profession and one of the directors of MyLogic. Into education segment for almost 15 years now, was part of different corporates as well. And our office is in Bangalore, having branches in Mumbai, Malaysia, we recently started. We provide all finance professional. The aim is to have, multiple finance professional under one umbrella. So primarily, if you ask me, the flagship courses are CMA USA, CPA USA, FRM, ACCA, so on. We have around 10 courses as on today we provide at different modes, online live classes, self-learning, like the different platforms. Now, we have a very eminent personality today, Alka. Alka, you can, so Alka is I have given a formal just given a brief about Alka earlier. Alka is a chartered accountant, cost accountant, certified public accountant, and integral part of MyLogic for almost 5-6 years now as our head faculties and be part of our journey throughout. And Alka has been very, very instrumental for our successful results. Thankfully we are able to produce good results for all our programs, and Alka is one of the key backbone behind that. And we are privileged to have you, ma'am, here. And I'm sure all the students will get best of output from you. So today's orientation session will be convened by Alka. Alka will give you a complete picture, and will be walking you through the entire program. So if no questions to start with, we can immediately move on to Alka. Alka, you can start. If you have any slide to share, you can. Over to you, Alka. All the best. We'll be in connect.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So good evening, everyone. Vinod has been very, very flattering in my introduction. So thank you, Vinod, for that. And you all know my name by now. I'm Alka Kothari. And as Vinod said, I'm a chartered accountant, cost accountant. And I did my CPA like donkey's years ago. So I'm not going to tell you when exactly, because then you'll be able to calculate my age. So I'm not going to tell you when I did my CPA. So anyways, the point is I've been into various corporate roles for many years. For about 12, 13 years, I worked in different corporates in finance and auditing and internal auditing and across the board. For a few years, I worked in the US, and then last 10 years, I've been in India. Last 7 years, I've been into academics. I've taken classes for CPA, CMA, CA, so a mix of different things. So currently, I'm full-time into this profession. This is what I love doing. And as my husband says, I like doing this because I love to talk and not to listen. So I guess this profession suits me. So this is what I do now. And today's session, we're going to focus on CPA. I'm going to walk you through the course, the different subjects, what we at Logic can offer, and how we can help you become a CPA, and what is expected out of you. All right. You're welcome to ask all the questions. Please note down your questions. And once we are done with it, in between also, if you have a question, you're welcome to ask. Otherwise, and at the end, of course, you can ask as many questions as you want. So I'm going to share a few slides with you guys just to take you through the course itself, the content, the exam pattern, and a few other things regarding the course. All right. So let me just quickly share this PowerPoint with you. All right. So certified public accountant, a US-based course. As per the definition given by AICPA, which is the institute which conducts our exams for CPA, a CPA or a certified public accountant is a trusted financial advisor who helps individuals, businesses, and other organizations plan and reach their financial goals. So this definition, if you see, is quite broad. It tells you what a CPA can do, which is pretty much anything related to finance, right? So in simple terms, we audit, we are into accounting, we are into tax advisory systems, we are into M&As, we are into multiple roles that we can play, right? So this is a definition given by the Institute, American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, right? Now, the reason why you want to obtain the CPA, many reasons, of course. One of the main thing is I've written down a few, which is the technical part of it. We'll get to it in a minute. But I feel for the time period that we spend on it, if you are serious about it, you can do CPA within a period of 12 months. Okay, I've seen people do it in 7 to 8 months also, but okay, let's not get there. But 12 months is a reasonable expectation. And if you think about it, a professional qualification which completely boosts your career ahead. It's like this big, huge push to your career in just a period of 1 year, right? So that's what I love about this course. It takes into consideration that you've already finished your education up to a certain level, and then it pushes you to the next level, right? So for the time period that it requires, of course, it requires commitment from you. We couldn't talk more about it. But as a profession, it is extremely respected, very, very well recognized across the globe. It's a US degree. Come on. I mean, American qualification. It's not, any other country. Like when I moved to US, I was a chartered accountant, but CA is not recognized there, right? So I had to do CPA. But unlike that, CPA is recognized in many, many countries, right? So it has this global recognition. Looking at the demand, overall, the regulations, the reporting requirements, and all that is getting more and more stricter. So the demand for accounting professionals is increasing and the supply is in shortage. So right now, very good time to qualify, right? Because the market is there. The requirement is there for somebody who understands the accounting, the auditing standards, the taxation rules, the regulations, all that. And CPA gives you exposure to all of these subjects, right? So that is, as a professional, you learn a lot. From career perspective, of course, it's a professional qualification which will just push your career ahead. I have seen it happen. I take classes for various corporates also, and in my classes, I have seen very, very senior people come and attend the classes, senior managers and all that. And I'm like, why are you in the class? You already know so much. So they just say one thing, that without a professional qualification, after a certain level, you cannot grow. You stop there. So to get promoted to the next level, you need a qualification. And this is the best. In the, compare this with CA. I have the greatest respect for CA because I think we put in a lot of hard work to get that degree. So I think it holds a very special place for me. But still, that takes about 4 years. This takes 1 year. So comparatively, it gives you, a professional qualification which is globally recognized. It differentiates you from everybody else around you. So immediately you get this recognition that yes, you've done your CPA. So you are ready for the next level in your career, right? And the sixth point, global organizations, they set this qualification as a prerequisite. This I can vouch for because I've seen it happen. Big fours and all, if you do not have this professional qualification, you're going to stop. They won't promote you beyond a certain level. You may have knowledge. I've met so many people who know everything about so many things that I teach about, but still they cannot get promoted because they do not have this. qualification, right? So many reasons to do CPA, and these are some of them, right? Each one of you, I'm sure, comes here with a specific reason in your mind as to why you want to pursue a professional qualification at this stage in your career. The steps, how do you become a CPA? First step is your education. Before you attempt the exam, you have to be graduate. Now, in the US, the graduate degree is for 4 years. So most of the states, they have a requirement of you completing your graduation, which means 120 credit hours to give an exam, right? So typically you need 120 hours to give an exam. Now, you can get your transcripts evaluated to see how many credit hours you have. We have a team ready and we'll be able to help you with that. Once you've done your education, which is your credits are taken care of, then you have the application process. How to apply to take the exam. So you have to get your transcripts directly sent to NASPA, get your credits evaluated, apply, get an NTS, which is notice to schedule, and then you're ready to take the exam. After that, schedule your exams. When exactly do you want to take your exam? The exams are open throughout the year. Earlier, there used to be some windows, but now the exams are open throughout the year. Plus, the exams are now getting conducted in India. So you can take the exams while in India. So that's your schedule. Study. Before you take the exam, of course, very important. Study. This is where I'm going to come in, right, to help you. Application process, scheduling process. Our team, Rupa, is there. She's going to help you. You can contact her how to go about it. This is where I come in. We prepare you to take the exam. We equip you so that you are confident, you're prepared, and you can pass the exam, right? Then, of course, take the exam, and that's it. Once you've taken the exam, then, of course, the next process of taking a license and experience and all that, but that's afterwards, right? So, those are the steps to becoming a CPA. Education, as I said, you need a bachelor's degree. If you've done your bachelor's degree in accounting, which is your BCom or BBA with accounting and finance, that's good. If not accounting, you're going to need some additional credit hours, but there are all these bridge courses and all which you can look at. Now, 150 credit hours is required for licensing. Now, in the US, 50 states, but there are 55 jurisdictions. So there are two parts to becoming a CPA. One is the exam, and second is the license. Exam is a common uniform exam which is conducted by AICPA, whereas licensing depends on state to state. Each state board of accountancy gives you a license to practice. Exam is a common exam irrespective of which state you take the exam from. The exam does not change. AICPA conducts a uniform exam, but the licenses are issued by State Board of Accountancy. So that's why you have these different jurisdictions, and each one has their own criteria for exams and licensing. Some need 120 hours for exams, 150 hours for licensing. Some need 1 year of work experience, some need 2 year of work experience. Now, work experience also you can have in accounting, in auditing. So all kinds of things are there, right? But that's the later part of it when you come to licensing. For taking the exam, there are a lot of states which let you take the exam with 120 credit hours. So we are good there. Okay. And between the exams and taking the license, you have a period of 3 years. So you're covered there basically. Okay. Now let's look at the 4 topics for taking the exam. Your CPA conducts or consists of 4 subjects or 4 parts, as they are called. The first is audit. Audit is divided into 6 sections. You have professional ethics, planning, internal controls, evidence, etc. Second is financial accounting and reporting FAR. In this, we're going to do GAAP, US GAAP, generally accepted accounting practices, and then we're going to compare it with international financial reporting standards, IFRS. So we're going to look at GAAP as well as IFRS both, and then we're going to compare them, where they are similar, where they are different. For a lot of times they are similar, for some there is some difference in terminology or treatment. So we're going to learn all that. In this, we look at financial statements, so which means my income statement, balance sheet, cash flow, all of that. Different types of accounts, fixed assets, inventories, investments, different types of transactions, revenues, and all that. And then, of course, there is a section on governmental accounting. So these are the 4 areas. FAR is your biggest subject. Okay, this is the bulkiest subject. Then you have BEC. BEC is like this, bucket subject, a little bit of everything. So you have business structure, which is more of, commercial organization kind of thing. Then you have economic concepts, which is economics, financial management, information technology is all about IT and various tools and all that available. And then, of course, planning and measurement. So you see, each of these topic is a subject in itself. The fourth part that we have is regulation, which is the laws. 60% of regulation is taxation. US federal taxation, so you study taxes for individuals, for entities, and property taxes. So 60% of your syllabus is federal taxation. The remaining 40% is your business laws, which includes things such as Contract Act, Sale of Goods Act. All of those are covered under business laws, bankruptcy laws and all. And then, of course, you have ethics and professional responsibilities. So these two put together is about 40% of your syllabus. Now, 4 subjects. In each subject, the exam is for 4 hours, 100 marks. Each paper is for 100 marks. And you need to score 75 marks in each part to pass. So your passing marks are 75. Now, all of us who've done, CA or any course in India, for us, 75 is like, oh my God, because we are used to 50 marks, right? But trust me, it's not at all difficult to get 75. If you're prepared, the exam pattern is such that you can score 75. Okay, it's not at all something which is unachievable. The pass percentage is quite high in CPA. So if you've worked hard, if you are prepared, you can score 75. It's not at all difficult, okay? But it's not that you score 70 in one and 80 in the other one. You have to score 75 in each of these subjects. How do you schedule an exam? Prometric centers is where the exams are conducted. The continuous exam testing, depending upon your work requirements, you have busy seasons or you have off-peak seasons, you can schedule your exam according to that. Right? Always plan that before the exam, you're able to take some days off your work because you will need to revise. Irrespective of how good your preparation is, without a few days of revision before the exams, getting 75 becomes a little difficult unless you are like complete genius. I had a student who took all 4 papers in the same attempt and she scored 93, 94, 95, and 96 in 4 subjects. Right? So there are people like that who do that, but those are, I call them outliers. But I don't know where you are on the curve, but most of us need a few days to practice before we can actually take the exam. Good news, exams are now being conducted in India, so you do not have to plan to take 2 papers or 4 papers in one shot. You can space them out. The way you should plan is you should plan on sitting 4 parts or taking all 4 parts in a period of 12 months. Why is that is important is there is a time period of 18 months for you to pass 4 subjects. The moment you pass your first subject, your clock starts, right? And you have 18 months from that date to pass the other 3 subjects. If you're not able to complete that, this first subject that you have passed lapses. That's gone. So you have to take it again, right? So plan for 12 months, 4 parts, so that you have that 6 months of buffer, right? You always need a little bit of comfort space or buffer or extra additional place where you can, if things haven't worked out according to your plan, you can take the exam again. So plan on taking 4 parts within 12 months so that it gives you some time before you hit that 18-month mark. The format of the exam. Each exam is split into 5 parts, which are known as testlets. Each part in the exam is called as testlet. So total you have 5 testlets. The first 2 testlets are your multiple choice questions. So 1 and 2 are your MCQs. 3, 4, and 5, these 3 testlets are what we call as TBS, or what's known as task-based simulations. Each of these exams, if you see, the number of questions are different. For audit, you have 72 MCQs. So the first testlet will have 36 MCQs. The second will have 36 MCQs. The 8 task-based simulations are divided as 2 plus 3 plus 3. Right? Similarly, in BEC, you have 62 MCQs. Now, the simulations are again divided. You have 4 task-based simulations and 3 written exams. Written exams means you will be asked to write a memo or some kind of a business communication. This is the only subject where you have to actually write or type in your response. For every other subject, you have to pick up the correct option from a drop-down box. MCQs is simple. A, B, C, D, pick up the right answer and move on to the next one. For task-based simulations, the question will be there. The answer will be there in the drop-down box. You may have 5 options, 10 options, whatever. From those drop-down menu, you have to choose your correct answer and move on. You don't really have to type in a lot of stuff, except for BEC where you have to actually type in a response, right? All other subjects, you just have to pick up the response and move on to the next question. The good thing about there is that is you see the answer right in front of you, so it's easier to choose. So that's how your exam format is. The exam time period, if you see, is 4 hours and 15 minutes. 4 hours of exam time, 15 minutes is this break. Between the third and the fourth testlet, you can take a break of 15 minutes. During this time, your clock stops. You're allowed to take the break. But the other times between the testlets, you can take a break. It's optional, but you will lose time. This break will go out of your 4 hours. The only time where you should plan on taking a break is between your third and fourth testlets. That's like about 2 hours, 15 minutes into the exam, depending upon, of course, how soon you finish the testlets. The rule is you finish the first testlet, you submit it, you go to the second one. You submit the second one, you go to the third one. Once you've submitted the testlet, you cannot come back. Right? So within the testlet, you can move between the first question to the fifth one, from the fifth one to the first one. All that movement within the testlet is allowed. But once you've submitted a testlet, you cannot come back to it. Right? So after you submit your third testlet, you're allowed a break of 15 minutes. It's recommended you take that, stretch yourself a little bit, relax yourself a little bit, and then move on to the fourth and fifth testlet. So that's how the exam is conducted. Then, of course, there is some 10 minutes before you start the exam and 5 minutes after the exam. So for after the exam, you have 5 minutes for a survey, feedback kind of thing. Before the exam, you have to sign your confidentiality agreement and all that. But that's not counted in your 4 hours. So that's how your exam is formatted. The success factors. What does your success depend upon? What are the things that you should keep in mind? Now, I just walked you through the 4 parts. You saw the course content, pretty much everything. The course content of CPA is wide. You cover a whole range of topics. In a lot of topics, you do not really go very deep. So it's very, very broad. Okay. So you have to keep all that in mind when you take your exam. So the biggest challenge is your vast course. And then I see this time management as one of the biggest challenge, because most of the students who do CPA are working professionals. We got jobs, we got families. They all require our time. And now we have signed up for this huge professional course where we are planning to cover it in a period of 12 months. We have to attend classes, we have to study on our own. So time management becomes really, really important for us. And we have to be extremely disciplined about it. So, somebody told me, I don't follow cricket very much, but I'm sure we have a lot of cricket fans here. I'm sure a lot of you do follow cricket. Me personally, not so much. So somebody told me Virat Kohli is a vegan, right? And he's so disciplined that he does not allow himself a single cheat day, right? And he is, totally about fitness. So I don't know who he told, because I'm not into cricket that much, but I've heard that he told one of his junior players, I think Rishabh Pant or somebody, I don't remember the name, but he told him that be disciplined, okay? Be disciplined, be fitness freak for this few years while you're playing your cricket. Once you've reached a certain age, you can do anything you like to. So give your, discipline to the game. Think about cricket only for these few years. What I tell my CPA students is I'm not even asking for a few years. I'm asking for a period of 1 year. Just 1 year. Be disciplined. In this 1 year, you will have to sacrifice on your weekends. You will have to sacrifice on your movies. You will have to sacrifice on your Netflix or whatever, etc., you're doing. Please include your friends, your family in this journey. Get their support. Without that, that's not going to be possible. Tell your work that this is what you're doing. Make time for this. This becomes your priority, and everything else will come after it. Just for a period of 1 year, do this. Once you're done with it, throw it out. If you're going to keep postponing that, okay, you know what, I'm going to take it next month, I'm going to take the exam next month, it's never going to happen. I've seen that happen to so many students pursuing the course for 2 years, 3 years, just postponing it, right? Doesn't work that way. Commit yourself, manage your time. Remember, everybody, 95% or maybe even more of the people doing CPA are working professionals. They are all in the same space as you are. So do that. Memory management, we do help you. We give you a lot of acronyms, how to remember certain things, how to use them while answering your questions. Understanding and application, we teach you the concepts, we teach you how to apply it. um, I'm sorry, if you have a question, could you just wait for a few minutes? Let me just finish this slide. Thank you. uh, put yourself on mute, please. Just give me a few minutes, I'm just going to finish this up. So we will teach you the concepts, we will help you understand the concept and teach you how to apply it. But it'll come from practice. Obviously, the practice has to come from your end. Calculation part of it, certain subjects like audit, you don't have any numericals. But certain subjects like FAR, regulation, and even BEC, you're going to have some numericals. So you're going to have to learn how to calculate. Calculators are not allowed in the exam, but you have your system calculator. The exam, in the exam, you can use the calculator, which is there on the computer system, right? And of course, you have an Excel spreadsheet, which you can use to calculate. The most important, which ties everything together, is confidence. Once you're prepared, once you've practiced enough, take your mock test, be confident. When you take the exam, never doubt yourself. Okay, that's the sure short way of not passing. Be confident, take your exam, and I'm here to help you in any way you want. When I teach the classes, anytime you want me to talk to me, you're welcome to call up and talk to me, okay? And whatever issues there are, we'll walk through them. Now, this is typically how I would teach my class. I will teach a concept. This is a slide for deferred taxes. So some of you might know what it is, some of you may not. So we calculate our tax as per US GAAP, which is accounting records. We calculate our taxes as per the IRS rules, the difference between them. So I'm going to have the slides to teach. Then I'm going to follow it up with an example. Most complex concepts, I will take examples. I will explain you with the help of examples. And then we'll learn to calculate or learn to apply the concepts together. This is how our classes will work, right? I usually use a whiteboard where, like, you see me scribbling here, right? So this is exactly how I would scribble on the whiteboard, which is what you're going to see on your screen. Anytime during the class, you can stop, you can ask the questions. We're going to learn, we're going to resolve our doubts there. You can send me email, you can send me a WhatsApp. We can make a WhatsApp group of the students so that you can interact with each other, because your classmates, your peers are the best people to motivate you. You can help each other out so that each one of you pushes the other one to perform better, to do better, to take the exams, right? So this is what CPA is about, all right? So this is what I wanted to talk to you about. Basically, this is what I'm going to teach you. Now, more than this, I want to tell you before I take your questions, this is what we are going to do. Now, let's come to the part what I expect from you people who are attending the classes, who want to be a CPA. Very important for my class. Ask the students who've attended my class. I start on time, I end on time. I'm a stickler for time, right? Because being a working mother, I have a lot of different jobs. And if I am late by 5 minutes, trust me, if I don't get up on time, if I am delay it by 5 minutes, my whole day is short, right? So it is kind of ingrained into me. I will start on time, I will end on time. So I expect you guys also to be there. When I say 9:30, please join in by 9:30 because we are going to start on time. If I say we end at 11, trust me, we end at 11 because after that I won't be responsible for what I say because I'll sleep, right? So we'll start on time and we'll end on time. Very important. Second, if I take class during the week for 4 hours or 5 hours, that is exactly the amount of time I expect you to put on your own. If I teach for 4 hours on your own, plan on putting 4 hours. Revise whatever we do in the class. Practice questions on those topics. If you don't, there will be a huge lag which you will always try to catch up. And it doesn't happen. If we start the class tomorrow, your study has to start from this week itself. You cannot say, oh, we are just starting, there are 12 months, we're going to come back to it later. It doesn't work that way. You cannot come back to it later because we will keep finishing portion every week. And if you do not practice during that week, there is going to be a backlog. And once there is a backlog, catch up keeps becoming difficult. Ask the students who've already attended a few classes how difficult it is to catch up, right? So please practice. Please go through the material. Listen to the video again. You will have access to the recording. You will have access to the material. You will have access to the practice questions. Do them because once you practice, you can come back with doubts, right? If you're not asking doubts, that means you've not really read the material. Because I know I'm good, but nobody is that good that all the students have understood everything, right? So if you have gone through the material, you should have doubts. The only time where you're not going to have doubts is you've not read the material at all. So I encourage you to be regular. Try not to miss classes. I know you all have work and our work timings are crazy. Most of us have calls with US or UK and all that, and that's like late in the night. But try, talk to your people at work and see if you can attend the classes. If you do have to miss the class, catch up on the recording. We cannot have a situation where you miss the class, you do not listen to the recording, and next day will be a complete wash, right? Because if you've not attended the classes, if you are not gone through the recording, you will not understand what I'm doing in the next class, correct? Not just me, for any instructor, that's always going to be the issue. So if you are missing the class for any reason, first of all, try not to. But if for any reason you are missing, please go through the recording. All right. So that's all that my expectation of first, time. Second, commit. Give 1 year to this course. If you are able to commit, you will make it. It's not some rocket science which you can't do, right? It is simple enough exam. You have enough tools on your fingertips. You have videos, you have material, you have question answers, you have support from all of us. You have enough support for this to happen. But you need to commit that this is what I want to do and give 1 year. Just 1 year. By this time next year, you should be ready to put all this and then go and party on Friday night. I'm sure toilets will still be there. A lot of other places would close down, but some of the places would still be there in Bangalore. If you are in Bangalore or whatever, wherever you are. So, in fact, once you become CPA, I'll come out and party with you guys. That's my promise to all my CPA students, right? So we'll go and party. So next year, this time I want to party. So that's it from my side, and you guys are free to ask any questions. Anything that I can help you with, or anything that you want to know a little bit more about.
See, I have one question, this taxation, whether it is like as hard as Indian taxation or it is easier for.
Honestly, very, very easy. Why? I'll tell you, because the US tax system is extremely logical. So there is, for most of the thing, there is a reasoning as to why it is. Once you understand the basics of how it works, you will find it easy. But it is very, very different from the Indian tax system. So if you are used to Indian taxes, I say you will have to unlearn it, or at least forget it for some period of time. Okay, because it's progressive taxes, Indian taxes as well as US taxes, it's progressive. The more you earn, the higher is the tax rate, right? So that still applies. But in the US, depending upon your expenditure, your income keeps getting lower and lower. So if I have more number of kids, I'm expending more on education, spending more on medical. So I pay less amount of taxes. So there are all those adjustments there, right? So it's much easier compared to Indian taxes. It's less complex. Plus, we don't have to remember the section numbers and the notification numbers and all that, which we do in India. For US, for CPA exams, you don't really have to remember all those. So that makes it much easier. But it is different.
Okay.
It is much different
Okay.
than our Indian system.
Yeah,
So,
like I just wanted to know, being a CMA, Certified Management Accountant, what do you
mhm.
think, like, probability of I mean, see, I can put my effort, like, as you expect. I may not be able to 100%, but Vinod might have seen me. I'm working as a head of finance in my organization, so I'm like, comparatively busy, but still I can manage my time. But how tough it is, I don't know. Like, I was asking Vinod that, do you think I can make it? Then only I can think of enrolling myself.
I think you can totally do it because you have experience and you have the maturity, which a lot of younger students might not have. See, with age and with experience, you realize that certain things need to be done, right? We do not have the luxury at times to say, oh, I'm going to do it tomorrow, because we know tomorrow something else is going to be on our heads. A lot of, like when I look at my kids or when I look at CMA students, especially who are coming straight out of college, they have this, easygoing attitude. We'll do it tomorrow, we'll do it next day, and all that. So, with you or with anybody else who has to make sure that he's managing his time well, you have that working in your favor. So, that, of course, I will say you can totally do it. But yes,
Sure.
you will have to plan your day. Yes, Vinod.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. So one point I maybe need to add here. So the approach what we are taking, Hemendra. So this is while Hemendra asks the question, this applies to everyone. So if you look at the classes happening from Monday to Friday evening 9:30 to 11:30, you get the same recordings next day. Okay, so you are covering with the classes. First step. Second, so I'll call it as generally, it is a 5 pillars we can look at. Okay, so one is the classes. You get best of classes headed by Alka. You have the faculties, all are experienced guys. So that quality of concept will be very clear. Second is the practice questions. When we say about the practice questions, we are following widely study material, which is considered to be top among resources. So you get best of material, question banks. So you will be reading the questions and concepts. You will be practicing exam focus. Second pillar. Third thing, what we have started is every week after the classes, weekends we provide test for the topics related to whatever be covered from Monday to Friday. So which is, we have a wonderful team being developed here. So Alka, headed by Alka, we have Rupa takes care of the entire coordination part. Rupa is on the call. Then we have Sindhu Raja, who's a semi-qualified CPA, already qualified, half CPA. Sindhu also joined us. So we have a wonderful team who is completely dedicated, not just to give the class, but to make you qualify. So you have weekend tests happening for which you will be forced to, attend it. Subsequent to that, we have developed some platform, which I was mentioning Alka also earlier, which I will call it as a fourth pillar, wherein there is something called test.mylogicvideos.com, wherein a kind of a simulated platform. So it will have unique question developed at MyLogic. You will be able to take exams that we recommend to take at a later point of time before the exams. 2 exams, as if now we are planning immediately 2 exams. So each paper will have 2 exams. So you will be taking exam which is act like a simulator. So you'll be taking exactly maybe 1 week before the final exam, 2 weeks before first exam, 1 week before the pre-exam. At 4 hours you will sit as if you are writing exam. So then you go and take the final exam. So that I'll call it as a fourth step. Then finally you will have discussion with coordinators like Alka, me. We'll be always there to encourage you and give you that moral support to ensure that you sail through. And most importantly, this is very important. When we say 1 year, it's like a 1 year project CPA. So what we have done is we have, broken into, different segments. So what is going to happen now is January mid. Tomorrow we are starting with FAR, continued until April end. It requires very extensive hours, and we have not compromised on the hours, maximum hours being included. Until April end, it will continue. So all your focus will be towards April end. And what will happen is May, you will have a break of 10 to 15 days break. That is for you to do the revision and schedule the exam for that time. So recommendation is you plan for your schedule well in advance in May, so that this April month, the classes gets over, you get another 2 weeks revision time, as Alka mentioned, you write the exam, no classes during that time. Then continue from May mid again May mid, June, July, continued until July. Then what will happen, because other papers, FAR require more time, but other papers requires relatively less time. So July, I would say around 20th, it will be getting over. So you will have the exam for the other part, you will be taking July end. I'm saying probably it will be auditing. Mostly it will be auditing. So you will be taking auditing exam by July end. So again, you will have 10 days break. Again, August, it resumes. It goes on August, September, October end, you will be taking the next third paper. Again, 10 days break. You will not have sessions. So I would say instead of looking even 1 year, you should be looking at 4 months complete dedication for FAR. And further breaking down, this week, focus, take the weekend test. Focus, next weekend test. Plan for revision. So it has been whatever we targeted for 1 year also, it is being minusculed into multiple blocks so that you can completely focus on it. All you need to do is, be in that uncomfortable zone. We keep saying that, be in that uncomfortable zone. I always give the example of Mumbai electric train, so, the electric train of Mumbai, all you need to do is you just get into the pressure, you don't have to do anything. You have a pressure situation, you be in that pressure, the pressure will take you inside. Same way, when you reach the station out, you don't have to walk, you just stand on the pressure will. So CPA, with all your work schedule, you will have a pressure time. Just get into that pressure mode, that pressure, and be in that uncomfortable zone for 4 months, immediate 4 months, and then move on. So I think definitely this is possible, considering that so much of planning has been done, so much of competent team is part of the team, and a lot of effort, not just to give the class, but to ensure that you qualify. That is the reason. Okay. So Hemendra, I think Alka's views and followed my thoughts, hopefully give you more confidence.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Plus, our lessons are going to be very bite-sized, We don't have a one class for 8 hours. We're going to have like 1.5 hour classes, right? So next day, you don't really need a big chunk of time. You have 30 minutes in the morning, listen to the recording. You have 1 hour in the morning, listen to the recording. You have a 1 hour lunch break. Maybe use 30 minutes of that to revise. I know it's a lot to ask, but we will have to make time like that. Otherwise, if you wait for a big chunk of time that I'm going to study when I have 4 hours at a stretch, that doesn't happen. That rarely happens. Okay, at least with working professionals, with families and all, 4 hours is a luxury. So that's how you will have to plan your thing. So I spend a lot of time on planning. So I would encourage all of you to do that. Make your schedule, weekday, weekend, how much time you will be able to devote to your studies, and plan accordingly. I'm sure all of you can completely do it. Nikhil, coming to your question, honestly speaking, I don't know if they will continue beyond 2021. Vinod, do you have an idea if they will continue the exam beyond 2020?
Right. As if now, I would say the whole idea about how it started is when this COVID came up. Traveling became a challenge, and they made for an interim period. I think somewhere in September or so they started as an experiment. It was called as temporary, but Jan onwards they have announced that this will be permanently held in India. I do not foresee any reason they cancel it because, see, end of the day, you are writing from Prometric, as Alka was briefing. So whether you do it from India, whether you do it from Middle East or US, doesn't make much difference. So I do not see any rationale of they moving back unless there is some political reason. God knows.
Actually, they have added more countries now. They are conducting the exams in a lot more countries. Jordan and all got added. So a host of other countries have also been added to take the exams.
True.
Hey, Alka and Vinod, thank you for all the explanation that you've been giving. This is Savin here. Just a quick question. Vinod, you just went into, giving us a brief overview of kind of that whole strategy or a plan, right? Is that the actual plan that you're going to follow up with splitting the subjects FAR till April, and that's how it is going to be?
Correct. So, Savin, that's the plan because
Okay.
it has been well thought because FAR requires more time. So
Okay.
we have gone down to minute level. In fact, we had a very lengthy discussion with Alka. We noted down, to the how many hours for next 4 months to be done. To that level, we have gone. I'm not getting into that, our discussion that becomes sometimes, if some flexibility we have to keep here because, for planning for 4 weeks daily classes, maybe probably, 1 week switching of faculties, all these things we don't know. But the idea is that CPA now, when we look at April, under FAR, there are 4 papers. So this 4 papers, how we need to do is we have a clear clarity. So this is how, and April end it should be getting completed. You will be writing May. It's like that for other papers. So there may be, I'm not anticipating, I want to stick on to it, but probably something like, okay, here add on, changes, all these minor changes will be there, but the strategy is very clear.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I mean, it's important that, like you have been repeating, right? Working professionals, it is really important for us to form the strategy and to be sure about when we can say we are okay to travel, when we are okay to take up stuff. We know when our peaks and valleys are going to be. So, okay, that's helpful. Let's, if possible, let's document it down in terms of our time.
In fact, it will be yes.
Okay.
It will be. May not be at an hour level, hours level,
no need
but
for
at
an hour level. Yeah, just a brief idea, right? Okay.
Yeah, that will be
Our
definitely.
next 12 months or something like that. It's like we'll split it into like a pregnancy trimester kind of a deal. Okay, let the baby out. Thanks.
Yes, and the first one is going to be very difficult because you will have to get into the flow of it.
Yeah, that's usually how it is, right? All the vomiting start, all the sensitivities.
Okay. Yes. Prateek, coming to your question, the classes, when will they be available online the next day in case we miss the live class? Rupa, do you want to take that question, please?
Generally, it will be done in the morning itself, ma'am. Maximum 9:30, 10 o'clock, the recording will be on board.
Okay.
So you will not have any delay. If you are missing the class also, the class will be available next day morning max.
Thank you, Rupa.
Before 10.
Maybe you can brief on the dashboard part as well, so that
Yeah, already we have shared the few of the details. Dashboard, you will be having a dashboard wherein you will be having a login ID and password created for you. The dashboard, you will be having the live class links as well as the previous recordings. This is very beneficial for you because you have all the recordings in one place. So you need not go check. Previously, we were sending mails and everything, but now this is it has come up very technologically driven, wherein it increases the comfort of the student. So you need not come back to us. Everything is in control of you because you have your access to the live links as well as the recordings. So you can do it n number of times, one thing, but that doesn't mean you have to miss the classes. As Alka ma'am was telling, you have to be very regular to the classes. I'll be behind you for that anyways. So, but anyway, the access will be very, very useful for you.
Sure. Thank you, Rupa, so much. I have a follow-up question, Alka ma'am. So,
Yes, Prateek.
Basically, since the classes and everything will be done online, so I am actually a little old school that way. I'm used to like notepads and notebooks and looking at the books and marking lines and stuff like that. So I wanted to know that how difficult will it be for someone who's like a notepad kind of person to like really look at the classes online and look at all the material online and make sense out of it, basically.
So, Pratik, I completely, totally understand you because I love the smell of the books, right? Even now, I don't take notes on whatever my calendar is in a diary, and I am myself a paper and pen person. So, online is the new way. So, we are all making, peace with it. But the advantage of online is it makes sure that you're actually able to attend every single day. You save on commute and all that. So that does help. Now, as far as your soft copy of the material is concerned, it's as good as the paper copy. You don't really need a book. But since it's an online class and I won't be able to see you, you will be hearing my voice and you will be, seeing whatever I'm presenting on the screen, whatever I'm writing. So I tell all my students, because if you see something on a machine, you're not seeing the face, you're not interacting with me directly face to face. So if you do not actually stay engaged in the class, you will lose concentration. So what I say is, see, when I teach, I always teach using a whiteboard. So in fact, I'm just going to show you what my whiteboard looks like. So this is what the whiteboard looks like. And here is where I'm going to teach, right? So I write down here. So this is my board and my handwriting, which is usually good. But anyways, this is how I'm going to teach you. Every single thing will be on this board. And I love drawing arrows and circles and etc. etc. I write examples. Keep a register, a notebook with you. And every time I write something or you hear me say something, note it down. Okay, that'll go a long way in helping you prepare for the exam. And then when you are studying, refer your notebook along with your online material, right? Now, your exam questions and all that will be always this, it'll all be online basically. So your exam is also a computer-based exam. So I don't see a problem as such. But yes, if you are somebody who loves studying from the book so that you can underline, you can highlight, you can write notes on the side. So keep your register handy when I'm taking the class. Always, one, it'll help you make the notes immediately while you're studying. Second, it'll keep you involved and engaged in the class. So that goes a long way. Okay? So try doing that.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Sure. Nikhil, your question about job scene. Big scope in Big Four, big scope in MNCs. India, there is so much of work being done right now. And earlier it used to be only, BPO kind of job, lower end of work coming to India. But right now, a whole lot of work which requires professional qualification is there in India. So as far as job opportunities is concerned, many, but then of course, Vinod will be able to give you a much better idea about.
I'll add on one point probably. Our concept is like it's a family, so we call it as My Logic family. So that's why we you could see some of my left student Hemendra part of this CPA now, Gino, Alka with us for 6 years, 7 years, Manju, very long time. So like that we have we create a feel of family. It is a family in fact. So the moment you qualify also, you will be added to a new WhatsApp group called CMA, as if now it's CMA qualified, we have CPA qualified. So like that, we will have a WhatsApp group. And with this 15 years of journey, what advantage is we have very good network created in most of the companies, at very senior level, there are professionals and it is a mutual help, whenever there is good opportunity coming up, I pass on to them. They pass on, whenever there is opportunity at junior level at their side, they pass on. So it is if you're in a metro city and looking for a good opening, I mean, we ourselves will be able to help you to get into any of the leading companies. So name any companies, leading companies. We have good networks. I will not say we do not have any direct tie-up, okay, with companies X, Y, Z. I don't want to give false promises, but because of good networks, thankfully we are able to place students at very good positions. So recently, last day, I was discussing with Britannia. I was discussing with Britannia HR. Britannia and cream of companies. So when you look at from an exposure point of view, manufacturing exposure point of view, they are the exposure what you get is amazing. So we have a good network. Name KPMG, EY. I have at senior most levels. I have people Capgemini. Like that. I'm not extending, but from a job perspective, you don't have to worry about it. Getting that qualification is more important. The rest will take in its form. I hope it's answered.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Hello. Yes, Subha, are you audible?
Yeah. Who is speaking?
Nikhil there. I'm Nikhil Jain.
Hi, Nikhil. Go ahead,
Yeah.
please. Yeah.
My question was that currently I am working in Indian company as a senior associate. So I want to know that if I complete my CPA exam, so the job scope will be only in a big four MNC or in Indian companies also, because
I said,
I have a total experience in Indian study. I am working since last 2010 in accounts, taxation, and auditing.
if you're a CPA now, to answer that, I understand your question. If you're a CPA now, I could have sent your CV to Britannia. It is very light. And in my LinkedIn, I posted that. So, I mean, I hope you're fine with Britannia.
Okay, yes, sir. Because everyone wants to do job with Britannia and other. Uh,
Yeah, no, I mean, why I said Britannia, because it's still active. I posted in LinkedIn also last day some of the recent offerings. So that's why I said, because of Indian company you mentioned, I quoted the company name.
okay.
So I hope that's.
Vinod, you're tempting me. I'm going to send my resume to you now.
Okay. So I more, sir, whether a simple graduate can do CPA easily.
Alka can take that.
So, and to answer your question, Nikhil, a graduate can definitely do CPA. In fact, you don't need anything more than a graduation to do that. But what it requires is, since you've been working for 10 years, as you said, if it's been 10 years since you've last gone for any kind of exam and all that, it will require a commitment from you, and you will need at least a couple of weeks to get into the flow of studying. What happens is, last time when we attended college was so many years ago, right? So to get into that flow of studying and taking an exam and committing and being there, that okay, this is the time I'm going to study, making that timetable is very important. So as I said, nothing can beat hard work. Talent is great, talent is fantastic, but hard work will beat talent every single time. So if you are committed and this is something that you want, then you can definitely do it. But you have to want it badly, because you've left, like a lot of us who've not given any exam for the past few years, we are going to have that issue. So it is going to take a couple of weeks for you to get into the flow of studying and committing yourself to sitting down and sitting with books and going with the material and doing practice questions. That takes time. So give yourself that time. Do not get frustrated that okay, it's been 3 days and I'm not getting anything. It will take some time. So I tell everybody to be patient. Give yourself some time before you get used to the entire format of studying. Remember, this is an American exam. If you have not taken American exams before, the format will be different. The way we teach will be different. The way the exam is conducted, the focus is entirely different. So
Okay.
it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. So give it time. It does happen. But yes, it needs hard work
More and more
for
hard
1
work.
year. Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. I wish I could tell you that it is easy. It is easy, but it requires you to put in hours. You attend the class for 8 hours and you study for 8 hours on your own and you're good. You don't need anything else. So if you attend, classes during the night and during the weekend, if you're able to put in some hours and study, you're all good.
Okay, ma'am. If I compare with CPA with CA final, so what would you say?
CA final is an elephant.
Because because would like to say currently I am graduate semi-qualified CA and MBA. CPA so that
Nikhil, I think good that I will take that question. So, Nikhil, absolutely don't worry. See, considering that you are already interqualified, see, we generally say 25%. CPA equals 25% of CA. That's the equation, or even it can go down. I think nothing to worry about it. So, from an effort perspective, so I would say being an interqualified pursuit final should not be a challenge. But as Alka said, commitment is required, of course.
every course requires commitment.
Yeah.
Without commitment, no course can be complete. Even simple course, even tough.
Yes.
Right.
No,
True.
thank you, ma'am.
Sure.
Any other questions? Anybody? So I think, Alka, I assume no more questions. So I think we are good to conclude. You want to add on any other points, Alka?
No, nothing. Anjali, semi-qualified CA, semi-qualified CMA. That's good, Anjali. So you've already done a lot of syllabus. Of course, taxes and all will be different, but otherwise you should be good.
Yeah, 3 papers would be something which is very familiar to particularly CA Inter, CA Final.
Yes.
For BEC auditing, you will find a lot of relative, overlapping. Regulation will be something completely new. Good.
Okay. Does anybody have any other question? Yeah, Anjali, the papers are quite similar, but like you will understand the accounting concepts better, but the difference will be you will have to map it to US GAAP. Conceptually, it'll be the same. I mean, debit is debit, credit is credit, balance sheet is balance sheet, income statement is income statement. Nothing is going to change there. But some specific GAAP rules will be there or IFRS rules will be there. So Indian accounting standards are more aligned to IFRS, international standards. US GAAP on some things is slightly different, but conceptually nothing changes. So you should be fine. Auditing would be quite similar to what you've done in India. It shouldn't be difficult. Same is true for BEC. BEC should be good. Taxes would, of course, be very different.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, ma'am. Thanks for all the information. So actually, before an year ago, I was pursuing company secretary course. So I was taking the classes every day. So I was nearly spending 5 to 6 hours every day for my studies, thinking that I was not able to study for whole six hours. But if I was thinking like if I spend 6 hours, so at least I can seriously study for nearly 1 or 2 hours. So I was spending 5 to 6 hours in library. So now actually I'm a working professional in an MNC. So my concern is that every day if I spend 1 hour for my studies, 1 hour of hard work, so will that be enough? Or
1 hour in addition to the class?
yeah, 1 hour in addition to the class.
Yes. But plan on spending at least 2 hours on the weekend.
Yeah.
Then you should be good.
Okay. So
But
every
of
day.
course, individual requirements, it depends, right? Some people are very good at accounts. Some people are very good at taxes. So depending upon your subject and the level of difficulty you find in each subject, you will have to plan. But in general, if you attend the class regularly And if you are able to revise whatever we are doing in the class on your own and practice some questions, which typically takes as long as you take the class for, you should be okay. I don't foresee any trouble there. So if you do spend that much of time, but 1 hour study means 1 hour study. You cannot be sitting in the library for 6 hours and studying for 1 hour.
Yeah.
So plan that if you're sitting for 1 hour, you study at least for 45 minutes out of that 1 hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Okay. Yeah, you should
So
be.
the other thing is, so I just had the information like, so every Saturday's offline classes will be conducted in the institute.
Not immediately, Adarsh. So
Okay.
as if now we are, with COVID happening and all other things are around, as if now immediately the plan is to ensure that online live classes, what we are having, the classes happens exactly same way. As Alka also highlighted, see, we are not, something, COVID has come because of which we have moved into online. This online classes has been moving on for quite some time. We are almost 5-6 years. We are doing online classes for different programs, and most importantly, you will get the recorded sessions and all. So if I take a statistics of students who have in last 1 year taken online classes from physical, many of the people likes online classes. To be very frank with you, because one is they don't have to, they are at comforts of their home. Point one. Second is they could see the faculty exactly like what you see. Third is next day they get the recordings. Physical classes do not have recordings. So combining all these things, I would say it is as good as physical classes or even have a slightly better advantage. In fact, we are coming up with one more model called a complete self-learning platform, which will be launched in maybe probably 1 or 2 weeks from now, wherein everything will be available in it. So we have the videos available, question bank available, exams available. You can connect with the faculty. It will be, you'll get an alert on it. So considering all these things, I think that's not something you should be seriously worrying about it, Adarsh.
Yeah, I just asked for the information. Thank you. So the other thing is, if I want to contact the faculty, so during the weekends or Saturdays, so will the faculty available in the institute?
I will answer that. So let me explain that. So how, as I said, it's a process driven. So once when you get into the system, you will have a live classes platform is available wherein you can watch the recordings. You will have a point of contact as coordinator for CPA. So academic coordinator for you is Sindhu Raja. Sindhu, you are there?
Hello?
Yeah. Sindhu, you are there? Sindhu Raja, you there? Okay. Sindhu will be. Yes.
Hi.
Yes. Sindhu
Hi,
also.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. So Sindhu Raja will be your academic coordinator, who is the first point of contact for any doubts. Sindhu already pursuing CPA, qualified couple of papers, including FAR, as I understand. So you have the first point of contact coming up. Second, you have Rupa as a central coordinator for the entire online program. She takes the ownership. And based on the level, so if there is a doubt which is coming across at first level, you need a clarity, definitely Sindhu Raja would be the first point of contact who can help you out. We have to respect the faculty's time also. At the same time, okay, you need further any clarity required. As I said, you will be added to a WhatsApp group also, wherein all the faculties will also be there. And then based on the requirement, if further, a specific requirement with the faculty, we have to fix a pre-appointment time with the faculty, and then we will help to do that. But the end of the day, what is our objective is to ensure that, as I said, you have to qualify, you need to get the support. That is why Sindhu is available. Sindhu Raja is as a single coordinator only for CPA. She is there to support you. Okay. And then next level Rupa is available. Alka is there as head faculty. So all these systems are available. So you don't have to worry about the doubt part.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Apurva, questions? Okay, I think Alka has answered that.
Yeah.
I think we are getting out of time. So any further questions? Otherwise, we'll conclude. Alka, you want to add on any note?
Nothing. Just see you guys tomorrow.
Great. So thank you everyone for joining. We had a good start. So let's keep the momentum and ensure that, as I said, just as Alka was also insisting, ensure that you attend the sessions and we take the best benefit out of it. So all the very best, everyone. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Good night, everyone, and take care.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Vinod. Thanks, Alka.
Yeah,
Good night.
thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.